In this video, we will have a look at another built-in add-on that is already in Blender that you don't have any download to make. So the first two add-ons that we will use are like that already inside Blender. You just have to activate it. And the third one, we will have to download it. But first of all, let's go to here, Edit, Preferences, here, and enable the add-on. And we will search this time for Carver. Okay? So here you have Carver. Nothing will appear into your sidebars here or whatever. It's not an add-on that has some buttons here. It works only with shortcuts. So okay, how to use Carver add-on. So the first thing that you have to do is to select your object that you want to carve first. And then after you go in orthographic view, it's a little easier to manage the views without have the deformation of the perspective here. And you go to whatever view after. You can be in front view or whatever. It doesn't change anything. You just make a Ctrl-Shift-X. And it will show this little menu here. So the first thing is that when you enter this menu, you are into Carver mode. And when you want to go out of this menu, you just go on Escape. Left click works too, but Escape works well. Okay. Little thing to know that is important. During the time I will be into Carver mode, the shortcuts will not appear here. So you will just see Ctrl-Shift-X, and after the shortcuts that I will make to change the options into the Carver will not be seen there directly, but I will try to explain it as much as possible. It's quite easy to understand anyway. So the first thing you have, the first option when you make Ctrl-Shift-X, you will see here difference, rectangle, bevel update on, apply operation on, and cursor depth off. Good. So what it does basically, you just do a click and drag and it carves, and that's it. So here it carves with a shape of rectangle. Okay, so we just make some interesting shapes like that very quickly, very efficient. I really like this add-on when you want to work with concepting shapes quickly. I mean, it's really, really interesting. So the first one is the rectangle mode, okay? And with the difference option. You can still do Ctrl-Z inside when you are inside here the Carver add-on, okay? When you are in Carver mode here. And you can here just play with that. Okay, so the first one is the difference with rectangle. It's the first shape that we can use for make some carve. But let's say I would like to carve another shape. So you can see here the cut type is changed by space bar. So I will use my space bar here. It doesn't show here, but I made it. And here now it's line. And with line, you can just draw your shape like that. Okay, draw your lines. And then after, when you finished, you just have to use the space bar again to make here the cut. It's not with the left click, okay? So you just make here a shape like that, space bar, and it works. Shape like that, here again, and it cuts. Okay, so again, very powerful method to create some shapes. Like for example, if I'm inside you, for example here, and I would like to change to make an interesting shape, let's say something like that. Okay, and change it. Okay, I will go until there and the space, and I have a new here, a new shape. Okay. Let's say I'm not happy with that. I will create another line here. Okay, so very good here. You can make some kind of Ctrl-Shift-X. Sorry, I did click on the right mouse. So you can make another shape like that with the rectangle here. So yeah, a lot of possibilities here to create some nice shapes. And if I change it with spacebar, now I have my line again. I can continue here and draw things like I want, maybe a little more interesting. So yeah, a lot of possibilities there. But it's not finished. We have the rectangle, we have the line, and if you hit space again, you will have the circle, okay? So the circle, basically it's easy, it draws a circle and it cuts. Nothing crazy there, but very good. And it's the same here, like for example, if you cut directly into the geometry, you can create holes directly into the shape, okay? And yeah, very good method too. You can change here the subdivisions of your circle. By default it's 40 vertices here, but if you want something more low poly, you can use the W and the X. So with W, I can reduce or increase the number of vertices here. So with W, let's say I go into 9 vertices and I will have something really more low poly here into my shape. So again, a very powerful method to add some nice shapes into your model. Okay, good. But for now, we did see only the first line, the cut space here with the space bar. Okay, you have the possibility the bevel update, the second line here, we will not touch it because we want always the bevel to update, and I will show you why after. But more or less how it works, this. When you make a bevel update and when you keep the bevel update on, when you escape and when you go after there into edit mode, yeah, it doesn't show up because there is no bevel here. But I will show you that here into the next video because the next add-on will manage that for the beveling. And but the bevel update, just remember that here we will just keep it here with enable, so you don't touch A during the processing of using this add-on. Then after you have the apply operation on or off. Okay, if you just click on Q, for example, and make a rectangle there, what it will do, it will just make and draw a shape with a modifier directly into the object that you can move after if you want. Okay, so I just draw a few shapes like that just to show you how it works. So basically it makes this. Good. I just do escape to go out from this, and now I can still go there without any problem of I can change my shape or scale it up or whatever. I have my modifiers there that are ready, and I can use the bool tool add-on if I want after. No, I cannot, but it's just here. I just have to apply all the objects and remove them if I want to apply that. Okay, and now I have my object cut. Anyway, so usually I keep this on, and like this I don't have to think about it. Ctrl Shift X, I just come back maybe with a shape a little more normal. It starts to be crazy here, and yeah, okay, good. So Ctrl Shift X here, usually I keep apply operation on. For the cursor depth, it will take the cursor here that is in the center of our scene here, and if I use D to enable it like that, I will just cut until the 3D cursor, okay? That I can move if I want with H. I can move the cursor with Control left, okay? So let's say I would like, for example, to make a circular shape that will cut not too far, so just something around there. So with Control left click, I just put my cursor there, and like that, if I just go with space now and change my shape to circle and draw a circle, you can see that it will just carve until the 3D cursor like that. So again, a very powerful method to add some little shapes here and there. So a very powerful add-on. I keep the cursor depth at off there. I don't enable it by default. And you have here, you can see that here you have a few options more. You have the shift option, and this one is really a must-have when you want to use that. So let's go with Escape, Control Z, and let's use this add-on with this option. This option is really good because, for example, you cut a shape and you would like to keep the shape that you did cut, and it will make a rebel. So what is a rebel basically? So you have a shape like that, you make a Control Shift X again, and by making your rectangle, you keep the Shift key enabled. Okay, when I use the Shift key, you will see that here the rebel will be enabled, and I will just can drag a line like that, a rectangle like that, and now I have my two objects. And if I go back into object mode, I can just select this object and make a few nice interesting shapes, like Control B, for example, to make a shape like that, let's say. Okay, so it will be very good to use this kind of method because or here, for example, if I want to draw a shape, like for example Control Shift X, with the line option this time, I can draw something like that. Okay, and just with the rebel in the end and the space bar, I will have a nice interesting shape that after I can come back into edit mode with, by selecting it and make SY maybe to have something more interesting, and even bevel if needed or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of really interesting to work with this system after. With the rebel method, you can make a lot. The same for a circle shape, a circular shape, let's say, like for example here, Control Shift X, I go to with the circle with the space bar, and then I click Shift to keep my rebel on, and we can make a circle there. Okay, and now I have my two objects. So very good one, because after you can play with the shapes inside, make an SX or SY as you want, and yeah, so very good method there to quickly have some interesting shapes with the rebel. And we will use it quite a lot, the rebel, during the process of creation. So keep this in mind when you make a new shape, like for example here, Control Shift X again, with the select your object first, because otherwise it will not work well. Control Shift X, and then you will just use the line like that, create a new shape, interesting shape, let's say something like here. Okay, and you will just use the Shift key and make a new shape like that. Okay, so very interesting way of doing things, and that's why I wanted to show you this, because we will use it quite a lot. Okay, so for now that's it for this add-on, but there are a few options that I would like to show you again. It's not finished yet. This add-on is very powerful and really good work from developers. I come back maybe with a few Control Z until I have a more simple shape. Yeah, until this it's good. Now what I would like to show you is another method of creation with this. You select an object with that you want to carve, Control Shift X here, and you can see when you enable H, the help with H here, you have the rebel option that we did just see, the left click to validate, move all with Alt key. So this one is important too, because for example, let's say you draw a shape like a circle or even a line, but let's say a circle to start. You want to draw a shape like that, and you say, oh, it's not really in the good location, I would like to move it. So you just use the Alt key and it will just move your circle where you want. Okay, when your circle is in the right place, you release the Alt key and you can still move to have the proper shape that you want. Okay, so I don't make the cut here, but it works here with line as well. Okay, if you make a line, for example, and you tell yourself, it's not really in a good place, you just change it with Alt, and now you have the good one, and with the reball you will have an interesting shape here to work with. Okay, so just be aware of that during your process of creation, because it can help a lot. Now the last thing, this add-on is something, it's really powerful and has a lot of options. But the last thing I would like to show you is when you want to use some shapes, other shapes to make some little inserts into your mesh like that. You will just make Ctrl+Shift+X again, and this time you can see that we have here the profile brush that you can change there. Okay, so with B you will just go into the profile brush option, and it will give you a few shapes that are really interesting. So here I have a square shape, for example. You have all of these options that are available there. Okay, so if you want to scale your object, you just scale it down. Okay, and you just click, and it will just or with space, and it will just make the hole where you want. Okay, so you can use here, where is it already, the previous or next profile. You can change it with X, and you have a lot of shapes available to make some nice shapes into your object, like for example this one. You can manage here, where is it already, not the rotation, not the revolve, not the difference, the thickness here with D. Okay, so here with the thickness I would like to go inside like that, to be sure that it will draw inside, something a little like this. With S I can scale it down, and for example I just make a shape like here. Okay, with the spacebar, and the spacebar again, and not too much, Ctrl+Z. Okay, so you can see that here it works pretty well. I have my shapes that are here. So it can be useful sometimes when you want to make some specific shapes into your object, even if for this kind of process here I would use more maybe the bool tool here with a specific object that I will create myself usually. But it's here, you can use it as well. As you can see, it follows the geometry, the angle of the geometry. So if I click on here with the spacebar, it will work as well. Okay, so let me make Ctrl+Z and explore the shapes a little together with X and W. So for example you have, and I will scale it down to have different kind of shapes here. Okay, so spacebar, I have this shape, and again with W I will have another kind of shape here. Again with W I will have this one, with W this one, with W this one. Interesting too, to make some corners, why not? So a lot of possibilities. As you can see, everything is written there. You can manage the rotation of it, the scale of it, you can duplicate if you want, you can manage the columns and the rows between the objects when you use the duplicate here. So a lot of possibilities into this option there. So a good method to add some details as well. As you can see, it goes very quick, and you have some decent result here. But usually, as I told you, I prefer to model these shapes myself. it will work perfectly for what we have to do with the bool tool that we did see together. So when you want to come back into the normal mode, let's say, so I will just finish to explore the shapes. There is a cross shape. Again, there is this one. Again, there is the square shape that we did see in the beginning. And again, this one. How much shapes we have there? A lot. And this one that we did see already, yeah. And after, that's it. So you can see a lot of possibilities to add some little details. When you want to come back into the object mode, it's written there. You go there with B and you come back with the different rectangle by default, and you can just click and drag and make your curve as you want. So Carver add-on, as you can see, a very powerful one and a lot of possibilities of creation. Don't hesitate to work a little on it and experiment. We will use it a lot during the training, especially to draw the shapes in the beginning and even to add some details after. You will see that it will be a very important add-on during this training. But usually we'll not enter into the profile brush mode. We will just keep the different rectangle and line and circle option by default. Okay, so that's it for this Carver add-on. Into the next video, we will see the fast carve add-on that is not built in Blender. We'll have to download it. I will show you how it works in the next video.